That is the Hillary I know. That's the Hillary I've come to admire. And that's why I can say with confidence there has never been a man or a woman, not me, not Bill. Nobody more qualified than Hillary Clinton to serve as President of the United States of America. I hope you don't mind, Bill, but I was just telling the truth, man. And, by the way, in case you're wondering about her judgment, take a look at her choice of running mate. Tim Kaine is as good a man, as humble and as committed a public servant as anybody that I know. I know. His family. I love Anne. I love their kids. He will be a great vice president. He will make Hillary. A better president, just like my dear friend and brother, Joe Biden, has made me a better president. Now, Hillary has real plans to address the concerns she's heard from you on the campaign trail. She's got specific ideas to invest in new jobs, to help workers share in their company's profits. To help put kids in preschool and put students through college without taking on a ton of debt. That's what leaders do. And then there's Donald Trump. Audience, boo. President Obama, don't boo, vote. Audience, don't boo, vote. Don't boo, vote. President Obama, you know, the Donald is not really a plans guy. He's not really a facts guy, either. He calls himself a business guy, which is true. But I have to say, I know plenty of businessmen and women who've achieved remarkable success without leaving a trail of lawsuits. And unpaid workers, and people feeling like they got cheated. Does anyone really believe that a guy who's spent his 70 years on this earth, showing no regard for working people, is suddenly going to be your champion? Your voice? Audience, no. President Obama, if so, you should vote for him. But if you're someone who's truly concerned about paying your bills, if you're really concerned about pocketbook issues and seeing the economy grow, and creating more opportunity for everybody, then the choice isn't even close. If you're rightly concerned about who's going to keep you and your family safe in a dangerous world, well, the choice is even clearer. Hillary Clinton is respected around the world not just by leaders, but by the people they serve. I have to say this. People outside of the United States do not understand what's going on in this election. They really don't. Because they know Hillary. They've seen her work. She's worked closely with our intelligence teams, our diplomats, our military. She has the judgment and the experience and the temperament to meet the threat from terrorism. It's not new to her. Our troops have pounded ISIL without mercy, taking out their leaders, taking back territory. And she will do it without resorting to torture, or banning entire religions from entering our country. She is fit and she is ready to be the next commander-in-chief. Meanwhile, Donald Trump calls our military a disaster. Apparently, he doesn't know the men and women who make up the strongest fighting force the world has ever known. He must not hear the billions of men and women and children, from the Baltics to Burma. Who still look to America to be the light of freedom and dignity and human rights. Well, America's promises do not come with a price tag. We meet our commitments. We bear our burdens. America is already great. Ronald Reagan called America a shining city on a hill. Donald Trump calls it a divided crime scene that only he can fix. It doesn't matter to him that illegal immigration and the crime rate are as low as they've. Been in decades because he's not actually offering any real solutions to those issues. He's just offering slogans, and he's offering fear. He's betting that if he scares enough people, he might score just enough votes to win this election. And that's another bet that Donald Trump will lose. That's who we are. That's our birthright, the capacity to shape our own destiny. America has never been about what one person says he'll do for us. It's about what can be achieved by us, together through the hard and slow. And sometimes frustrating, but ultimately enduring work of self-government. And that's what Hillary Clinton understands. She knows that this is a big, diverse country. She has seen it. She's traveled. She's talked to folks. And she understands that most issues are rarely black and white. She understands that even when you're 100% right, getting things done requires compromise. That democracy doesn't work if we constantly demonize each other. Hillary knows we can work through racial divides in this country when we realize the worry black. Parents feel when their son leaves the house isn't so different than what a brave cop's family feels. When he puts on the blue and goes to work, that we can honor police and treat every community fairly. Hillary knows we can insist on a lawful and orderly immigration system while still seeing striving students and their toiling parents as loving families, not criminals or rapists. Families that came here for the same reason our forebears came to work and to study. And to make a better life, in a place where we can talk and worship and love as we please. She knows their dream is quintessentially American. And the American dream is something no wall will ever contain. It can be frustrating, this business of democracy. Trust me, I know. Hillary knows, too. When the other side refuses to compromise. Progress can stall. People are hurt by the inaction. Supporters can grow. Impatient and worry that you're not trying hard enough, that you've maybe sold out. But I promise you, when we keep at it, when we change enough minds, when we deliver enough votes, then progress does happen. And if you doubt that, just ask the 20 million more people who have health care today. Democracy works, America, but we got to want it not just during an election year, but all the days in between. So if you agree that there's too much inequality in our economy and too much money in our politics, we all need to be as vocal and as organized and as persistent as Bernie Sanders supporters have been during this election. That's right, feel the burn. If you want more justice in the justice system, then we've all got to vote not just for a president. But for mayors and sheriffs and states attorneys and state legislators. That's where the criminal law is made. If you want to fight climate change, we've got to engage not only young people on college campuses. We've got to reach out to the coal miner who's worried about taking care of his family, the single mom worried about gas prices. If you want to protect our kids and our cops from gun violence, we've got to get the vast majority of Americans. Including gun owners, who agree on things like background checks to be just as vocal. And just as determined as the gun lobby that blocks change through every funeral that we hold. That is how change happens. Look, Hillary has got her share of critics. She has been caricatured by the right and by some on the left. She has been accused of everything you can imagine and some things that you cannot. But she knows that's what happens when you're under a microscope for 40 years. She knows that sometimes during those 40 years she's made mistakes just like I have, just like we all do. Hillary Clinton is that woman in the arena. Audience, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. President Obama, yes, we can. Not yes, she can. Not yes, I can. Yes, we can. You know, there's been a lot of talk in this campaign about what America has lost people who tell. Us that our way of life is being undermined by pernicious changes and dark forces beyond our control. They tell voters there's a real America out there that must be restored. This isn't an idea, by the way, that started with Donald Trump. It's been peddled by politicians for a long time, probably from the start of our republic. And it's got me thinking about the story I told you 12 years ago tonight. About my Kansas grandparents and the things they taught me when I was growing up. And my grandparents explained that folks in these parts, they didn't like show-offs. They didn't admire braggarts or bullies. They didn't respect mean-spiritedness, or folks who were always looking for shortcuts in life. Instead, what they valued were traits like honesty and hard work, kindness. Courtesy, humility, responsibility, helping each other out. That's what they believed in. True things. Things that last. The things we try to teach our kids. And what my grandparents understood was that these values weren't limited to Kansas. They weren't limited to small towns. These values could travel to Hawaii.